Join us for an enlightening experience where you will gain a deeper understanding of the purpose and essence of opening your eyes. This is your chance to enhance self-awareness and personal growth with a shift in perception that provides a fresh outlook on life. Embrace the journey from consciousness to superconsciousness. Coming live by Barrett Kunyan.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have Dr. Joe Delaney, also known as Dr. Lightheart. Welcome. It's a real privilege, honor to have you on our bioactivation platform. And I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you for all the beautiful messages and frequencies, beautiful energies that you put out there, Dr. Joe. I really appreciate what you do. You're such a beautiful soul, and thank you for turning up today. Before we get into the subject of awakening to presence, there will be a short video which I'd like to share. But if we can, would you be kind enough just to introduce yourself? There's a lot of people out there, they are familiar with you, but just for our own viewers as well, just a profile of what you've been doing the last couple of years, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, certainly, mate. Yeah, thanks very much. Nice to see you, and thanks for having me, as they say. So yeah, I'm not a doctor of medicine, I'm a doctor in medicine, and all that means is I don't prescribe medications. I'm basically a medical research fellow, actually a senior medical research fellow. They call me Dr. Lightheart, even though I look miserable, because I've sort of realized through my own personal experience, and as they say, my journey, that I was living a life that was very serious. I was very responsible. I lost my sense of years of stress and anxiety and depression. I took to alcohol. And then, I found that if I had a certain amount of alcohol, it made me feel normal and I could work and still make money and stuff. But as the years went on and the stress got worse, I needed more and more drink. So the drink got hold of me, And in the process then, over the years, I then lost my job, lost my family, lost my license, my driving license, lost my liberty, and then lost my home as well, And people were saying to me, Joe, if you carry on like this, you're going to have a nervous breakdown. And to be honest, Barrett, I didn't know what they were talking about because I was in something called denial, and somebody told me recently that denial can stand for don't even noticing I am lying, and that to me is the pretense. It's not the presence, it's the pretense. And I didn't know I was pretending, but as we go through this talk, I can explain what I understand about it now, really. And so in the end, I made 2 really serious attempts to take my own life because I was so guilt-ridden and fed up with myself, and they didn't work, mate. And on the second attempt, something happened to me that I can't explain. I can only describe it, really. And it was almost as if the peace that passeth all understanding descended upon me, And in that process, right, I understood everything about everything. I was even shown almost like a cipher, like a mathematical equation of how the whole world works, And it's gone now. I don't. When it left me, all that information left me as well, But I was almost given the impression in that moment that I signed up for this. It's my soul's contract. I had to go through and experience all those dark things in order to understand what the rest of humanity was going through, so that I could talk from a personal lived experience and not some theory, And so I'm a sort of a health professional, medical professional who's been through the ringer, and step by step, I've come out the other end. But I don't know everything. I just feel like I'm sort of just scratching the surface of what's possible. But just by sharing what I've been through and my hopes for the future, it seems to help other people, really. So that's where I'm up to. I'm supposedly quite knowledgeable in spiritual matters, but people tell me that, but I don't feel like that at depth. Most of the time I'm waking up with no idea what the hell's going on from one moment to the next. So that's a bit of a sort of a recap on where I'm up to. But in myself, it will be in a couple of weeks' time 32 years since I've had a drink of alcohol or taken any mind-altering substances or whatever, because my feeling is that in order for us to hear the real message, we need to be as clean as we possibly can. And I don't mean saintly. I just mean that we need to clean up our own act, And that's, this is just the way Dr. Lightheart sees it, and if other people see it another way, that's fine by me. We've all got to allow ourselves the personal responsibility of choosing and accept the consequences of those choices. I went on a bit there, mate, but over to you.
I really appreciate that. So do you want us to play the Awakening to Presence video?
Yeah, go for it, and we can discuss that. Yeah, by all means.
Looking forward, and that should set the theme up nicely. Here it goes.
Why do we open our eyes? Is it merely to see, or is it to awaken to something profoundly deeper? We stand at the cusp of a monumental transformation of human consciousness, a shift from being bound by time to immersing ourselves in the eternal now, from the incessant chatter of our thoughts to the silence and purity of consciousness itself. This journey begins by tuning into our soul, embracing our intuition, and stepping into the highest version of ourselves. Each time we close and open our eyes, we have the opportunity to embody this transformation. Imagine now being in a state of gratitude, saying thank you to the universe, embracing independence, not seeking salvation from an external savior or guru. Recognize your intrinsic value and witness the shift to a new paradigm. A paradigm where ownership transforms into guardianship. Its core principles: do no harm, and not imposing on the freedom of others. In this world, we leave behind a supercharged footprint, uplifting the matter around us by simply being. Imagine the left brain's logic and the right brain's creativity, harmonizing, neutralizing. Together they guide us to take true organic ownership of our vessel, connecting us to the real Wi-Fi, the cosmic energy that envelopes us, invisible yet omnipresent. In this unity, in this I am presence, we find our true essence. It's a state of being where actions and words are unnecessary. We simply exist in harmony, tethered to the cosmos, radiating peace, love, and transformation. Why do we open our eyes? Perhaps to truly see for the first time, to be present, to be conscious, to be awakened.
Beautiful.
I had the help of my beautiful son putting that together, and we've done a few series, and there'll be a lot more coming out, and fingers crossed we'll get our book out as well, the bioactivation book, in the next couple of weeks as well. And we propose to put some children's toys as well, because for me personally, before I hand over the mic, for me, how we orchestrate this powerful movement into being present in the I am is we've got the left brain, the right brain, and is to bring it into the union of being present in yourself without having the temptation to say that excuse me, that the left side's stronger, or excuse me, I'm losing my voice there, the right side's better. So it's not being prejudiced or taking sides. It's like saying sweet is better than sour, sour is better than sweet. So it's balancing things out, and understanding how the symbiotic relationship between the two. And if I may, that's kept me in very, very good stead in society of late, because of this activation of self first. Because the intention begins with, what are you putting out there when you're converging, when you're connecting? with all beings, with all organisms and life. Are you going, your intention, is it of the highest purity, or do you want to hurt anybody in the process? Are you imposing? So for me personally, and I feel that we are on the same page, brother, is the fact that the purity is so important. And my day begins with gratitude, the awe and excitement of knowing my mission, which is to raise the vibration, because we are going into an exciting new paradigm. And if I had anything to do with it, the instrument, the contribution that we're all putting together, but we're getting more and more aligned, aren't we, brother? I mean, we're getting more connected as a human race, coming together in alliance of a very high intention, a very, very high frequency. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear a little bit what you feel about being present means, and the kind of feedback that you get as well when you're interacting with people. You know, smiles. Are you sort of raising people's frequency, or are you lowering them? So when you are in that beautiful, harmonious, neutral place, um, it's like people can't get enough of you, brother. A bit like you right now. I mean, I'm so honored to have you as a guest. I've been longing to invite you for quite a while. You're up there as far as I'm concerned, and I'd love to hear your take on this, because I know you've got a lot to give.
Got a lot to say, me. Yeah, I think lightheartedness. Another way to say lightheartedness is levity. And levity, you know, it's the sort of the root of levitation, you know. And to me, the way I see that is that in levity, it's almost like the spirit, whatever that means, the energy lifts us. And that to me is what raising the vibration means, you know. Because I think there are some people who've lived in a high vibration but being completely ungrounded, like I was myself. You know, I knew lots and lots and lots of stuff, but I was sort of, my feet were firmly planted in the clouds, you see. So I think, you know, sometimes we have to come down to earth again in order to reconnect and complete the circuit, you know, between, if you like, heaven and earth. And these are just words to explain it, really. But I don't think, you know, you can't think your way into higher vibration. I think that you have to get away from and almost like take your thoughts away, because otherwise one hemisphere jumps to the other. So there's no balance. So how do you actually achieve balance? My understanding is that you have to sort of almost decapitate yourself and just live from an open and flowing heart, you know. And I think the thing about that is, and what I've been shown is, and what my PhD was all about, was really the intimate and intricate connection between how we breathe and the quality of our breathing and how the heart works. Because if we can use positive emotion, a loving feeling, and we can actually breathe at a certain frequency. I mean, this has been known for 5,000 years, this, you know, and modern science only just catching up, saying it's invented it, you know what I mean? It's this, so that makes me laugh. But it's the way that we breathe and the quality, meaning the feeling of that breath, changes the way our heart works. And the way our heart works, and the science, neuroscience is doing this now, changes the way our head works. So we're coming away from cognitive behavioral techniques, meaning thinking our way into feelings, and we're allowing really to open our heart and allow that feeling to change our minds, really. And I think once we can understand that it's in that act of surrender, you know, somebody said that, you know, surrender to win, you know, and I believe that now, because I was a fighter. I'd grit my teeth. I wouldn't let anybody get the better of me. And I was tense all the time. I was always in a battle, really. And if it wasn't a battle with somebody outside myself, I was having a battle between my two hemispheres, you know. So I think, to use a posh word, hemispheric resynchronization, right? And the balance comes by getting out of the way, really, you know. And that's, you know, I see that more than anything else. I mean, you can't think your way into humility. Somebody said to me once, if you think you're humble, you're not, because that's a thinking thing. But this is what I was saying to you before, is I was in this state of pretentiousness and denial, and I didn't know it really, because I was always trying to do the right thing. I was brought up to respect older people, to respect authority, to do what the teachers said, to do what that. And basically, Barrett, I lost myself. I didn't have my own thoughts, And when I drank, part of the thing that addicted me or got me addicted to alcohol was temporarily it let go of all those conditionings. And for a time, I was being my natural, authentic self. Over to you.
Beautifully said, brother. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that element of conditionality, because my understanding is to be of servitude, where it's all about unconditional love. Because what keeps me in good stead is spiritual merit, because my personal operating system is abundance. How the operating system works is you're projecting basically what exactly is happening inside of your vessel. So if you're in that place of neutrality, and you're kind of harmonizing, if there's places of toxicity, you're not dismantling the toxicity. It's not your job to do that. Your job is to be in presence, because if it's important for the advancement of any beings around you, they'll notice you. So you're not operating from ego. You're not saying, excuse me, I exist, here I am. You're just like what you just said, phenomenal. Your breathing, your heart, your frequency would do all the talking. There's no, it's because there is a universal language here. And your stance, your movement, your impression, the signatures, the markers that you're leaving behind is of upliftment. So this is where I'm coming from. Humanity, planet Earth is going through an upgrade. So will people be left behind? Will people go forward? It's a choice, because everybody, once we remove all the labels, like our real names, I mean, these are labels.
Yeah.
My understanding, correct me if we're not on the same page, is we are all a unique frequency, siphoning energy. So some people might watch us and they think 5 things. Some people might not see anything or hear, and some people, wow, these guys are amazing. So it's not for us to decide for other people. I personally want to be my highest possible version each time. When I close my eyes, open my eyes, it begins with thank you, and I'm excited, and you're happy. Because if you're not happy in yourself, you're not really raising the frequency. So you have to be happy, but balancing the two together, because there is an opposite polarity to everything. Because if you go up too high on this side, you will kind of drop down again.
Yeah.
So I have to remind myself, maybe you're the same. I have to remind myself not to get overly excited, because you might hit some kind of turbulence, which is fine as well, because an opposing polarity is going to test you, the limits of your soul, and that's the way it works. And so over to you. I mean, to add a bit more flavor to this beautiful conversation, but I'll say a bit more in due course. But
yeah, that's fine, mate. Yeah, we'll have a ping pong match, really. Yeah,
that's what we did with Elsa.
advantage Barrett. We'll do the tennis match. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I see it in a similar way. I see and I feel, because it's the way I feel now, not what I think anymore. Really, I focus on feelings first, and if I feel balanced, open, flowing, yeah, then I just keep going, right. And if I feel obstructed or pain, because I believe that pain is simply an obstruction to the free flow of unconditional love through all our systems. That's how I see it. And in the work I do in integrative medicine, any pain is a blockage or a reduced flow of this vital energy. So the most
Yeah.
important thing becomes, if you're in pain or you feel disturbed, is to stop, is to take a step back, to reconnect with that quality of breathing and that 6 breaths per minute. That will bring us back then into balance, and then ask the question of your intuition or your soul, please show me what's causing this obstruction, and please either give me the courage and the energy to reset it. And that's how I live my life now. I live one day at a time. I go to bed at night. I wake up the next day with a clean sheet. I put my hand on my heart first thing in the morning, and I tap on my heart and I say, good morning, heart. What's on the cards today? You know, and I just get a sense of then. And it's almost like my heart and me, or my spirit and me, or my soul and me, whatever that is, it's a feeling really. We construct a to-do list for the day. And generally I just try and follow that to-do list. That's come from this sort of collaboration between me in 3D and this other intelligence in 5D and beyond, you know. So that's where I'm up to really. It's, you know, the reason I sort of was able to stop drinking was I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I'm still in Alcoholics Anonymous. And Alcoholics Anonymous, for people who don't know, it's just about reconnecting with your heart's intelligence. That's what AA is all about. And it's not about brainwashing. It's not about being in a cult. It's simply about reconnecting to the source of power from which we've been disconnected, you know. And that's where I'm up to, you know. There's always something to learn, you know. For example, if you said something here that I disagreed with, I'd get a grip in my gut. I'd have to realize then that, hang on, that's Barrett's point of view. It's sort of colliding with your point of view. Which is the correct one? Don't know. Take it away, sit with it, and see what works for you. And that's how I work, you know. I don't know whether that's making any sense, but you know, I didn't realize, Barrett, that I was lying. I was lying to myself. I was lying to other people. But I can tell now, because if I'm not living in the truth, I feel terrible, you know. And so all I'm bothered about now is being in that zero neutral point where everything's flowing, you know. And so I just keep going.
Yeah. I mean, when you mentioned the word flow, I mean, I practice a certain modality, which part of the modality is doing breathing exercises, which is very important, and stretching, and it's called Pai Da Lajin. So basically, you're working on with your pressure points, and you're stretching at the same time. I've got a bench which I put 1 foot up and one leg down, and that stretches the spine. So basically, the blockages that we're referring to is not just physical.
Yeah.
It's the emotional aspect, the on the etheric, on even on the mental and on a spiritual level. So when doctors go to a place where they start creating so many different labels, which creates such separateness, it's unbelievable. I can put it all into one word, like you did: blockage.
Yeah.
So with this modality, which I practice, is it releases, and this word chi, the chi energy, begins to rotate. It's like a kundalini, if you will, activation. And this is when I was talking to Elsa as well. Now you are in your beingness. So your whole instrument, your whole body becomes this, which you can see. You have X-ray vision. So I can see now where people are at. So I'm very careful. I'm very subtle. The older version would sometimes barge into situations, and I could be overwhelming or overstimulating and trigger people to, you know, they become very defensive, or they might even leave the room, or but now I'm being very, very careful. Even when I know in my heart of hearts that even if I ask a question, a simple question like, how are you, Joe? knowing that you do have quite a lot of issues, but you see, when I'm mindful, when I'm 100% present, and I present that question, it comes out. They no longer need to wear the mask and say, I'm fine, when I'm not.
Yeah.
They'll say things like, wow, this is divinely timed, Barrett. And I'm like, yes. So speak your truth. Tell me what's on your mind. And they'll say, well, blah, 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 it all just come out. And they're going to feel a lot lighter in themselves because they've been able to release whatever those traumas were. And you know as well as I do, brother, that we've all been traumatized at birth, because for me personally, it was separation from my parents. I'm talking about my non-biological parents, yeah, which when I got into this place of presence, I had this incredible experience, omnipresence, where that's what I promised myself, that I would never, ever, ever cry when somebody drops their hologram, because it's death is a complete and utter illusion. It does not exist. So I'm interviewing somebody not very, very soon, and he was clinically dead for about 9 hours. I think Jesse Howe had him on his show. So there's a lot of people out there, like there is somebody called I remember her surname, something Murunjani, Anita Murunjani, for example. She's written a book about her experience as well. And there's many people out there that will testify this, that it's not what I don't want to even go and energize words like controllers, but whatever people, because there's many storylines out there.
Yeah.
And we have to be careful how we energize certain things. But whatever the narrative was, and I'm now saying in past it because words are very, very powerful. So the powers that were, I'm grateful for you, because your objective was to keep me here for as long as possible, and you did a very good job. So thank you, but I'm now releasing myself, if that's okay with you. So it's an amazing dialogue, like you just said earlier, about you're having a two-way dialogue, you're having a dual relationship with your lower, your higher, and it's good to bring it in some kind of balance, in some kind of order, and you will see the kind of biofeedbacks that you'll get from people. So yeah, it's just, yeah, it's fascinating to see more and more people are becoming this way orientated, because when there's a handful of people, because collective consciousness is a funny thing, isn't it, bro? Because you are also a transmitter.
Yeah.
So especially when we come in this incredible place of communion right now, we're having a wonderful conversation, which is very, very powerful. So we're sending off this vortex of energy out there, and bringing more and more people to connect themselves to themselves. And I feel that if you said to me, how do you define success, or whatever you want to define, for me it's a peace of mind,
Couldn't agree more.
because that's what you're going to instill in every place that you go. And this is the ultimate intrinsic value, which is you. So it's all good and well looking at the monetary things, what car we possess, our houses, or whatever we own, but the ultimate is this. But over to you. I mean, I see you, brother, and you are such a great inspiring person, because I see you go into the park, you do your jogging, and I love it. There's your contributions are absolutely up there as far as I'm concerned. I thoroughly enjoy all the stuff that you put out there. It's beautiful. So Thank you for your beautiful service towards humanity. But yeah, it's.
No,
But
I
yeah,
just, like you
yeah,
said, I just do what I feel, really. You said about souls. In my view, and the way I see it, and always willing to be sort of corrected if it's wrong, you know, but I do feel that each individual soul, or if you like, the particular I am presence of each individual has a distinct individual energy signature. And I think unless we're in line with that, we're always going to be disturbed. So the process is to let go of what we're not in order to get closer to who we are, you know. And so this is not really about getting hold of new information. This is
no,
about letting go of old information, you know, because I can see now that all I was really from an early age was basically a programmed automaton with no mind of my own. It was a socially engineered,
yeah,
conditioned mind that didn't belong to me because it was everybody else's thoughts and opinions on how I should live my life. And really, it took me to the point of death, right, to realize that I needed to start to make up my own mind. And my dad used to say this. I mean, the person who influenced me, or who I allowed to influence me more than anybody else, was my mum, God bless her. You know what I mean? And,
yeah,
you know, I didn't want to upset my mum. So I basically followed her instructions until I was 38 years of age, really, you
yeah,
know. And
yeah,
that's when that she was never going to let go of the apron strings. I had to let go of those, you know, and it was difficult because I had to say to her, Mum, I thank you up to this point for guiding me in my life, right? I kept the bit, you know, it's brought me to the point of death, but, you know, I kept that bit out of it. So I said, so thanks very much. And I said, I'm working with a group of people now, and some of the things that they're asking me to do might go against your principles. Well, she didn't like that at all, you know what I mean? And so I had to say, Mum, with all due respect, please give me an opportunity now to try this way of living, you know. And
yeah,
she could see as I went on then and started to say no to her demands and things like that, she started to soften a bit, and she started to realize that her son was getting better. So she started to back off. And so it's not easy because it takes courage to actually say no, or even say yes to the people you've been so close to, you know. And there's a lots of talks about narcissism and empaths and stuff like this. Those energetics exist in all of us, you know. So if you find yourself in a relationship with a narcissist, best thing to do is, right, take a step back and look at, how did I attract this narcissism to me? What is it in me that needs to balance? And that's how
absolutely.
I see now relationships improve now, by us balancing out our narcissistic and empathetic. And narcissistic me, to me, is the masculine side of things, or the doer, and the empath is the feeler, or the, you know, the creative side. So I mean, it's easy for me now because all I see now is the duality of things that we've talked about, the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine. There's two technical words for it: ergotropic, that's the masculine, and trophotropic. And trophotropic means to nurture, and ergotropic means to do the work. And I think that that's what this is all about, is allowing those two components through the intercession of an open and flowing heart. I'm really going on here, but it's
No,
coming out,
no,
so I'll just keep going. It's when the heart opens and that golden child brings
yeah,
mum and dad back together again. That's where we get the true success in life, which is called peace of mind. And when you've got peace of mind, that could also be called self-actualization and mastery of our emotions. And I think, from my own personal experience, that's what this seems to be about. However, I could be totally wrong.
you're not. You're definitely on it. And if I can just add something else to that, I'm also feeling that the ownership of like this and everything around us is now going to a place of guardianship,
Absolutely.
because that's the original template. Okay. We don't actually own anything, especially sacred things, truth. It's and truth doesn't sit there accumulating dust. It is like a sentient, living, breathing being of light that is growing all the time. That's my take on it. And if you're open, like I am, and I know you are, we're open source. And so we invite people to, and we're willing to share the dynamics of how true potentiality grows with natural law. Because we have two very powerful opposing polarities. We have the organic aspect, and we've got the synthetic aspect of it. Now, this is getting interesting now, because I was told off by a few spiritual beings, and I love you all. I don't judge and say you're good, you're bad, and da, da, da. But because with AI, now the ultimate is your consciousness, and you being telepathic. You're going from 3-strand, 4-strand to 12-strand. That's nirvana as far as I'm concerned. But until we get there, my understanding is, as long as we use AI, and within it the algorithm is do no harm and do not impose on the freedom of others, the way I see it, it's only going to speed the process up. It's not going to go against it. I know there is a lot of stigma attached to it, and I get it. I was one of them for a while. I was like almost saying, "Oh no, 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 no! We must keep away from AI. AI is not very good." But then, if you start doing that, it's a byproduct. Okay, AI can never mimic the soul, the real, So really, we are the ultimate creator. Okay, but this byproduct, wherever we call it, this because this biological computer, that's one of the reasons why I've set up my website and bioactivation. And by the way, I do not own this platform. It is for the people. It's and I'm sharing this, and anybody who wants to, it's like the book I'm about to launch. I'm not going to sell it. I don't need to protect it. If people want to give a donation, they're welcome. I love you. And if you don't, I love you as well. So it's not me saying you're a good person if you give me money, or you're a bad person. Now, in terms of money, it's an energy exchange. And I do respect money. I don't worship it. Okay. But I respect the value of money, because I treat it in a way that it is of a benefit for all, not just for selfish, greedy reasons. So if you're vibrating from this angle of things, I think it will keep you in good stead. But where does that sit with you, brother, with reference to what I just said about, like, we don't need to protect things that we're supposed to own ourselves, So I feel that this is what I'm bringing to the table, in as far as like saying to people that even if you're into art, okay, it's priceless. Don't devalue it. Don't put it into the field of competition. Say it's priceless. It's not for sale. But if you want to give a contribution, you're welcome. But you can have it. Take it. It's yours. This could make a huge transitional shift in consciousness of mankind. This is where I feel is going to be a very powerful bridge when we go back and take the ownership of this, into the field of guardianship. So think of it this way. We don't own our bodies anyway, because we're lost at sea. Remember, they gave us a certificate. So even when we can't do what we like with our deceased parents or whatever, we have to hand it back to the state. They then do their ritualistic things and put it in, and it's such expensive process as well. It's another form of consumerism. So from even that, from you can start breaking it down, and you can see that we don't own anything anyway. So, and to think that we do is a very dangerous place to be. Whereas if you're able to share, and ultimately the biggest, greatest thing that you can share is your presence. And being 100% present, because I'm happy, I'm ecstatic, and I enjoy enriching the lives of others, and the rewards are amazing. You know, when you see a child who struggles to smile because their parents, whatever the reasons are, and I love doing this. I love going sometimes to the supermarket and being childlike, you know, making funny faces and also interacting, and not feel that I'm not allowed to do that. You know, so you're breaking the taboos. You're taking the ownership back into your hands, and just marveling in that presence of who you really are. And I understand why people are not present as well, because they're not happy in themselves. They either are living in the past or their future versions. Tell them that you will meet somebody who's really balanced and says, I'm very happy and I'm very grateful, because they truly understand the essence of their unique spiritual evolution. Because we're all different beings. We are all different frequencies. So we're traveling at different speed of light, but there are universal truths to work with. And for me, the most important within this nucleus is, please do no harm, and do not impose on the freedom of others, and don't take these precepts are very powerful. So these are part of the natural law. So if you work with Mother Earth and with natural law, because earlier you talked about pain.
Mhm.
Well, this pain is caused because you're going against the flow.
Correct.
So if you don't go against the flow, then you will only grow. That's it's a bit of a, you know, it's a bit of poetry going on here. It's, you know, it, because it's the movement, it's the stance, and you can see some, you know, I might not say much, but walk in the room, and you can see the guys in harmony, not like, you know, you see, you can quite differentiate without saying much. What markers is he leaving? But you know what you can do? I enjoy doing this as well. It has got me in. I had a black eye last time now, but it can get you into trouble sometimes. But I love to diffuse a situation. Is that the door? Is that,
No, it's all right. Don't worry. It's the window cleaner saying, "Don't forget, I'm coming tomorrow."
ah, bless. So you can see, you know, how even the movement, how people are moving, what their intentions are. But coming back to neutralizing it, it's like people sometimes want attention because they don't get the kind of attention that they only a person who's really present can give them the attention to detail, yeah, to spark that, ignite that,
Yeah.
which is, it's dormant, brother. Because I'll give the mic in a minute to you because I'm doing too much talking. But for me, when
Never
I'm
get
reading,
a word in edgeways
but what I'm saying is that when you're even reading something, the script, are you learning anything from this, or is it merely opening up what already exists within yourself? I'll hand it back, and thank you for. It was a bit long-winded, but
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think what we need is already within us, you know, and we just need to get stuff out of the way. So it's what we'd learned, basically. Somebody said to me once, he said, Joe, you've got all these qualifications, you know, and you're supposed to be very clever, but all these qualifications and what you know has brought you to the point of trying to kill yourself. So why don't you just get rid of all of them and discard the whole lot and wake up tomorrow morning and start again? And, you know, if you were a Christian, you'd call that, you know, being reborn in spirit, you know, and stuff like that. But it's just part of a spiritual awakening. And then the journey starts again from a different footing. Because I think the first half of our life is basically in the service of ego and desires. And then when you've got everything that you thought you wanted and you're still unhappy, right, then everything seems pointless. And lots of people are at that stage now. You know, they can't understand what's the point of this. We're working God knows how many hours. And the point is, this is my understanding. You see, the point is that maybe your thinking is back to front and upside down. And that's where I was, I was living in inverted intellect, if you like. And I was glad that it's happened to me. Looking back, it was hell when I was going through it, literally. And now I'm on this side. I look back and I'm thankful really for all those experiences. It was really shit, like, don't get me wrong, but I'm glad I'm on this side now. I understand a little bit more. I'm always willing to learn. I'm only scratching the surface. And one thing that did change in me was, and rather than saying, I know, I wake up every morning to say, I'm not quite sure. So there's always an opening there to learn new stuff as well. As AI versus II to me is two eyes, innate intelligence, and that's within me already. I don't need to look outside. But as for using AI as a tool, no problem at all with that. You do what you like, I'll do what I like, right? No one can set rules for me, because that was the problem. I was trying to live by everybody else's rules. The only rules I live by is what feels correct for me. Do I make mistakes? Yes, of course I can. If I make mistakes and someone's unwittingly being harmed, I'll say, I'm awfully sorry about that. I was wrong. Barrett, I couldn't say that before. My pride and my fear wouldn't let me do that. And now if I make a mistake, I'll say, look, I was wrong about that. I'm sorry. And most people said, no problem, right? And they'll do the same thing. So that's where I'm up to now. Do I get it right all the time? As I say, no, I don't. I'm not bothered about making mistakes, because it's just more stuff to learn, really. So use AI if you like. I agree with you that in some circumstances it can save such a lot of time. It can get stuff out of the way, so you can spend more time open and flowing and enjoying yourself. So we can be open and flowing, just keep going. Then we start glowing. There we are. I put that on the end of your one there.
Beautiful.
So the glowing is almost like something that radiates from deep within us, and it's that sort of attractive force, if you like, that sort of draws people to you. And they say, how do you do that? And you say, well, if you breathe like this and you start listening to your heart, then you might get the information you need in order to go forward. But if you want to be like a guru and tell them what to do and they start following you, that might be the wrong path to be on. I'm something called a Reiki master, right? Because I learned about energy techniques and Reiki, and I do Qigong and Tai Chi and all these things, right? But the whole point about that is to exacerbate and get the flow, increasing the flow, because that seems to have more of a positive effect on people. I think that physical stretching, yin yoga, hatha yoga, all those things to try and get your musculoskeletal back in line will help the invisible energy, or these morphic fields, to actually work more powerfully. So I've learned all this stuff, but I was on my last legs. I didn't have a clue about all these invisible realms and the number of helpers that are there, or intelligences, And somebody's, I've given up the chicken and the egg thing. I couldn't care whether we're in this quantum consciousness, whether we've got 25 million dimensions to tap. I don't care. All I do is I have a feeling now that I'm being looked after by a force that's more powerful than me, but is me at some level. And I just keep going, mate. That's where I'm up to. So to bring this lecture or preach, right, to a sort of a condensation, take responsibility for what you do, right, and accept the consequences, right? End of story, because that's where I'm up to most of the time.
Well done, brother. I mean, look, it's been a pleasure having you here. And but before we end our show, where do you feel intuitive this year is? Because I spoke to Elsa about this as well, because I know you've interviewed her a few times as well. I feel that 2024, because we've heard this before, I mean, Todd's mentioned it with other shows as well, that this is the year, this is the year, I can feel that there is a subtle difference in the energies that are coming forward. I feel 2024 is the launch pad where all these blockages is going to cease to exist, and the end of this phenomenal pain of not knowing why you open your eyes. I feel that this is the ultimate intrinsic value, when you can open your eyes and know why you exist. That is the question.
I don't feel that. What I feel is, depending on where people are regarding their soul's experience, some people might have that complete awakening. That'll be like a massive psychic change that they get, and they get free. However, others, depending on their particular resonant frequencies, might see it more as an educational variety. I think that my feeling is, and I hear it every day, oh, the event is upon us, and I've been hearing that for God knows how long now, for years and years and years. Barrett, it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is, tomorrow morning, I will be given the day to make the best of it. And if I keep close to my innate intelligence or intuition, there's nothing that it and I can't handle together, and that's where I do feel I have a sense of that the next few months is going to be really difficult unless we keep close to our intuition. But, I work with other people, and they've suggested that it's the next 3 years. I really don't know. I don't get into that because, to be honest with you, all I'm ever given is the one day to make the best of it. And so if my head goes any further outside of that, I can start to become anxious or worried. If I look backwards, I can get angry and resentful. So like you said in the beginning, what's the difference between pretense and presence? Is just living in this now moment, allowing what to come up, emerges it, the information emerges in front of us. Take action on the information that's coming from your intuition, and all shall be well. Or at least that's my experience of it, really.
Beautiful, brother. And we can bring it to an end slowly. Our beautiful dialogue. I mean, it's a privilege to have you here and sharing space with you. And thank you again for all that you do. I mean, there was one more video I wanted to. I don't know whether you've seen it before, but it's called Harmony Unveiled. It's a minute and 30 seconds, and then
go for it, mate.
In the vast symphony of existence, a profound connection unfolds. Sound and light dancing in harmony, revealing the essence of the universe. Behold the mesmerizing beauty of interconnected patterns, weaving together in a breathtaking tapestry that transcends time and space. Journey into the heart of emotion, where joy, anger, trust, and love resonate with the enchanting modes of music. Explore the shared vibrations of music and light, from the gentle notes of do, re, mi, to the expansive spectrum of radio, microwave, and gamma rays. Unlock the secrets of the rainbow, where colors dance in harmony, echoing the universal laws of mentalism, correspondence, and the rhythm of existence. Delve into the kaleidoscope of nature's crystals, each category a unique expression, a testament of Earth's elegance and diversity. As we conclude this cosmic journey, Bioactivator emerges as a bridge connecting science, music, emotion, and nature. Harmony Unveiled.
Lovely music, that as well.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you. I mean, do you want to add anything else to the beautiful dialogue that we're having, or shall we slowly wrap it up?
All I'd like to say is I think where I get distracted and taken away from the now moment, if you like, is when I try to overcomplicate and psychoanalyze everything, really. So where I've come to now is I'm being looked after. The information that I need will be presented to me. Go out, enjoy your day, and we'll give you a shout if we need you. You know, so it's become that simple for me now. There's, like you said at the beginning, there's so many theories and schools of thought and predicted times and this, that, and the other. It's just like putting the television on and listening to all that nonsense on the news and stuff like that, you know. It's just take it with a pinch of salt. Tap into your heart. Find that light-hearted spirit and allow that to guide you through the day, you know. And if you get stuck, if there's something playing on your mind, just best get it off your chest. So share it with somebody that you can trust, not looking for a solution from them, just so that you can offload it, because at the end of the offload will be the solution, you know, and that's how it seems to work for me anyway. So thanks, mate. Thanks very much for inviting me on, and it's nice to see you.
A real honor, and look forward to another future session. But in the meantime, keep well, and my love to everyone out there as well who've been watching us as well. Much love to you all.
Thanks very much, everyone. And thank you, son, for the technical stuff.
Cheers.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bioactivator would like to thank you for your kind support and donations. Through Barrett Tunian's guardianship of this platform, his activation of truth harmonizes, neutralizes, and unblocks the meridians that connect, balance, and purify all that comes in contact. Do no harm is the key that fully opens the heart's voice to be in the union of the I Am presence, and will represent every living organism on the planet whose voice would otherwise not be heard. Remember, the truth will set you free. Do no harm, cause no loss, and do not impose upon the freedom of others. Love, light, and